Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I am Joey Francis, your life, love, and relationship coach. Thank you so much for joining me. Taking our time, taking things slowly, the slow burn. Is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? Is it for you? I mean, at the end of the day, that's for you to decide. But we do have some things to talk about when it comes to this, because for starters, what does it even mean? It's another one of these sayings that literally has no definition. And here's why. Imagine someone says to you, hey, here's the keys to my car. Take it slowly, drive slow. Okay, so you get in the car and, maybe you see the speed limit is 100. And he said, okay, well, you said take it slow. I'm going to go 50. Okay, cool. Taking it slow. What if the speed limit's 40? And he said, take it slow. Does that mean you go 20? What if you're an F1 driver and you're normally driving at like 300 kilometers an hour? What does taking it slow mean for them? Because on certain laps or going to the pit lane, like, the speed limit's like 100. 100 compared to a normal person, that might be kind of fast. So again, this saying literally has no actual concrete definition. And this is where I say communication definitely comes in handy. Now, what does it mean when we're talking about relationships? Well, with some people, taking it slow means I'm just not going to have sex with you right away. And that's understandable. And that is taking it slow to some degree, depending on what people have an idea of when's an appropriate time to have sex. Now, here's the thing. If you want to have sex on the first date, the 5th date, the 10th date, that's your business. I'm not going to judge you. I don't judge anybody. It is completely up to you and what you think is right and what you think works best for you. But that's one way of taking it slow. And that's usually, when someone says it to me, that's usually where my mind goes. It's like they just don't want to jump in the sack right away. And that's understandable. But then there's other people. There's people that say they need to take things slow because they just don't have a lot of time to dedicate to someone who they don't know very well, but someone they do want to get to know at the same time. So maybe they don't want to talk every day. Maybe they only want to go out once or twice a week. And that's all that they have time for or capacity for. And that's not just necessarily like in the physical world. It could also be in the mental world, where they just don't have the emotional capacity to rush into something. And they want to get to know someone slowly on their terms. Again, this is all completely understandable. But without having the conversation, we don't know where you stand and we don't know what you mean by that term, taking it slow. Because then there's other people here that use that term as essentially an scapegoat, get out of jail free card, so that they can behave badly, so to speak, where they can date multiples of people at the same time, because they're only allocating small amounts of time to each person because they're taking it slow. And I mean, even in those cases, if that's what someone wants to do, that's perfectly fine. And hopefully that if you were to talk to them, you would get an idea if that's what they're doing. And if it's not for you, it's not for you. But if somebody wants to play the field and they consider taking it slow, then that's what they consider. And it's either for you to either accept or not accept. It's your choice. So there's lots of ways of looking at taking it slow. This, again, like I just said, communication is key here. Now, I've been in situations, and like I said, for me, when someone says taking it slow, my mind right away goes to, you don't want to sleep with me right away, or you don't want to have sex right away. And only because in the majority of situations, that's where the conversation goes. Now, I was in a situation not very long ago, and, talking to this woman and getting to know her, everything was fantastic. And she said, like, hey, listen, I just want to let you know, I want to take things slow. And I was like, oh, okay. Sure, that's understandable. What exactly did you mean by that? And I asked her. And for some reason, well, not for some reason, but the conversation essentially went towards sex. And I was like, oh, okay. So essentially, you're just not looking to jump in the sack with somebody right away. Understandable. But then talking to her, getting to know her, she might have been overwhelmed by me essentially messaging her good morning every day. Like, I'm not the type of person that's going to be up your ass when it comes to like texting and messaging and things of that nature. But I do say good morning every day to somebody that I'm interested in and getting to know. That's a me thing. I only like to do get to know somebody like one person at a time. Again, that's a me thing. If you can do multiple people, I mean, all the power to you. So, you know, I'd say good morning to her every day and she would respond. And for the most part, I'd leave it. Maybe in the evening, I might have sent her a message. Maybe not, because there was a couple days that I didn't. But nonetheless, I guess that she was overwhelmed because within a matter of like 4 or 5 days, and again, very little actual conversation here, she said that maybe we were on 2 different paths or 2 different speeds and that she just wanted to back out. And it's like, okay, that's understandable. If that's what you want, that's cool. But again, when I asked, you know, she just went to the sex thing, didn't exactly talk about, you know, how much time that you want to spend getting to know me. And again, I wasn't in her face about it. I was just, aside from saying good morning every day, I may or may not have like messaged her one other time throughout the day. Unless there was obviously a conversation then going back and forth. But it is what it is. And, you know, maybe it was me, maybe it was her, maybe she didn't feel ready, whatever the case is. I don't hold it against me. But again, this is where conversation really comes in handy. Now, you have to ask yourself, what are you ready for? Episode 1, right? What are you ready for? And what are you looking for and what do you want? And within all of this is taking it slow, something that's going to help you achieve those goals. And what do I mean by that is when we start dating, when we really put ourselves out there and we go online and we start talking to multiple people, it becomes a very tedious task. And I mean, I've said it a bunch of times too, that we need to change the wording from dating is hard to dating is tedious, because it's not hard, but it is tedious because having the same conversations over and over again with people. But what ends up happening is that because so many people aren't necessarily going to be right for us, when we do find someone we like, we might get overly excited and jump in head first without even thinking what we're doing. Like, you know, the saying, look before you leap. Because of all the bad stuff that's been happening, we just, oh my God, we actually found somebody that I like. Jump in right away. And the thing is, do you even know them? How do you know you like them? You've talked to them for a day, 2 days, 3 days, even 5 days. Maybe you've gone out once, twice, 3 times. You got to pump the brakes a little bit. We do need to think logically here. As I've said, we are older. You know, we need to make better decisions, more sound decisions, because time is precious. In some of our cases, the time we have left is less than the time that we've already spent. And when you think of it that way, it's like, okay, we need to slow down for a second. And I know sometimes it sounds counterproductive, where it's like, hey, we're running out of time. We need to slow down. You need to slow down to make better decisions. This is where even if you are someone that's not really interested in taking things slow per se, just the idea of having a day or two where you reflect on what's going on, where you think about it and, hey, wait a minute, am I getting overly excited because I found somebody that I find attractive and that has certain things that I'm looking for and that messages me the right way? Or is this like real and like this person's the one? Because if we really think about it, the person's never going to be the one, not after, a short period of time. And I'll tell a story about a girlfriend of mine who likes to listen to this podcast, so she knows exactly who she is. And what ended up happening is she's been dating for a bit and finding nothing, literally finding nothing. And it's starting to bother her, and she's starting to get a little upset, to the point of maybe even having a temper tantrum, maybe. And what ends up happening, she finds a guy who she is visually attracted to, extremely attracted to. So rather than spending the time getting to know him, or even, asking herself, is this something that I want? Do I even have an idea if this is the type of guy that I want? She just goes out with him. Has a good time. He's a nice guy. Funny enough, she messages me afterwards and says, he doesn't sound very educated. He doesn't sound very intelligent. Like he's a funny guy and he's really sweet, but he doesn't sound very intelligent. And he doesn't sound very educated. These are things that I want. And it's like, okay, so you're already going back on your list of things that you want. Again, something that I've said a bunch of times, that you need to be focused on the things that you want and don't want. I will say it every week if I have to. Nonetheless, she goes out with him a few more times. Some things happen. Let your imagination run wild. Some things happen. It doesn't end up working out. It's not exactly what she was looking for or wanted. And granted, as I've mentioned to her, getting to know somebody, even spending a little time before rushing to meet, getting to know the person, getting to understand who they are, how they talk, do they have the qualities you're looking for, blah, 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 blah. It saves you time because you went out with this guy a bunch of times and maybe, did some things that you might not have normally done. No judgment, but at the end of the day, you're the one that's wasting your time. And she's like, yeah, no, you're right. Literally a week later, meets another guy. And like I was literally talking to her yesterday about this. Now I know these podcasts are recorded a couple of weeks in advance, but still. So I don't know how that's going to end up finishing this new thing. But she meets another guy online. And she tells me, oh my God, he is so sweet. He puts me in my place. He is so intelligent and all this stuff. And it's like, okay, what's the problem? I don't know if I'm really that attracted to him. I mean, he's okay. He's cute. But I don't know if I'm really that attracted to him. I'm like, okay, well, there's your answer right there. And I'm not saying necessarily that, the person of your dreams might not be sort of attractive, because as she put it, yeah, but what if I meet him and he's much better looking in person? And that definitely happens. A lot of people are usually better looking in person, specifically because, they don't know how to take pictures right, or they're not very photogenic. I mean, I don't actually believe that. I think everybody's photogenic, but that's beside the point. Nonetheless, most people tend to be better looking in person. I mean, provided they're not using filters or any of that other shit. So she has this idea. Maybe I should go out with him. Maybe not. Maybe I should go out with him. And see, this is where the guy was putting in her place, because he even said it to her, like, what are you doing? What are we doing here? Like, we're talking, we're getting to know each other. I'm trying to ask you out on a date and you keep, telling me that you don't have the time or you're busy. See, the funny thing is, she doesn't say no. She just brings up an excuse of, my kids this, or work that, or friends this, or plans already having, and etc. And he's like, listen, what are we doing here? Are we getting to know each other to actually get to know each other? Or are we, trying to create something? Like, what's going on here? And I commend him for that. And I'll get to that a bit later. And she's telling me now, like, oh, but he really wants to meet me, and I think that I should. And it's like, but if somebody has to twist your arm to go out with them, do you really think that they're going to be the one? Now, in some cases, yeah, maybe that happens. But maybe that happens because somebody falls head over heels with a person's sense of humor, a personality, or a bank account, and their looks stops mattering. But I know her, and I know her that looks matter. Looks matter to me too. With some people out there, looks don't matter that much. And you know what? All the power to you. Your list of things that you want, or your list of things that you want. And I don't care what people say out there. It's not shallow, okay? It's not. We all have preferences. Because even with somebody that says looks don't really matter, I can find somebody that you're going to find either repulsive, disgusting, whatever the case is, that you're going to say, you know what, I wouldn't date that person based on their looks. Because we all do it. We're all like it. So get over yourselves. It's just the same thing as saying, I can't be with someone because of their values. I can't be with someone because of the religion they believe. I can't be with someone because of whatever the case is. It's the same thing. So if you're someone who feels bad about not dating someone because you don't find them attractive, it's okay. Does it suck for the other person? Yeah, it kind of does. But you have your preferences. And remember, the more preferences you have, the harder shit's going to be for you to find that person. And that's essentially on you. That's essentially going to be, sorry, my phone. Anyways. So I don't know whether or not, she's going to go out with the guy. Because after talking to her and saying you need to really figure out whether his looks or not bother you, to the point of, are you just going to waste your time? Is this going to be essentially like the last guy, but in reverse, where you found the guy that was very attractive, but didn't like anything else about him. And now you're finding a guy that you like a bunch of things about him, but now you don't find him attractive. And it's like, you're getting closer, you're doing the work, you're putting yourself out there, and you're getting closer to the person that you want. But you're not finding him. And instead of hard and fast rules, what you're doing is wasting your own time. And again, this is why I say sometimes taking things slowly can benefit you, because talking to someone, getting to know them, makes you find out whether they have or not have the things that you're looking for. Also, though, maybe not talking to someone, having a day in between or a couple days in between, and not rushing into things, even getting to know each other for that matter, gives you time to reflect. Am I here for the right reason? Do I actually like this person? And that's a question that you have to constantly ask yourself. Why this guy? Why this girl? Is there something I don't like about them? So that you can essentially keep yourself in check. So rather than getting overly excited and jumping in head first without thinking twice about what you're doing and who you're doing it with, you're giving yourself time to talk to them, get excited. You're going to get excited. It's going to happen. It's a natural process that happens in our brains. You can't stop from getting excited when you come into contact with someone that you like. That's part of the dangers of everything, right? That's part of the, not thinking before we speak, or not looking before we leap. So having that extra day or two, taking some time away from them, gives you time to calm down and think a little methodically and logically about what we're doing and who we're doing it with. Again, that's if you need that sort of thing. That's if you find yourself potentially, rushing in and jumping the gun. And that also could be part of, your relationship type. Whereas you might be someone who's anxious and you want to keep them around because otherwise you'll gain anxiety thinking, do they like me? Where are they? What's going on? So maybe even taking that extra bit of time is you training yourself to hinder that anxiety. I mean, it's going to happen, but you have to wean yourself off of it. And there's nothing wrong with saying hey, I'm enjoying getting to know you. If you don't mind, I need a couple days to deal with some stuff. That's all. Maybe we could set up a date for the weekend or something along those lines. So at least you have a date that's concrete, or hey, let's set up a phone call for a couple days from now. So that you have it's there, that something's coming, but at the same time, you're giving yourself that little bit of space to think and contemplate and figure out, what am I doing here? Now, like I was talking about my girlfriend and that guy, see what that guy was saying to her. What are we doing here? I'm trying to set up a date with you. What's going on? Are we going to do this or not? And like I said, if somebody's trying to set up a date with you and you're thinking do I really want to do this? That's your answer. That's your answer right there. I know, things happen where people meet and they're yeah, I didn't really want to date this person in the beginning, but then I found out that I love them and blah, 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 blah. And it's yeah, it can that happen? Of course it can. But does it happen regularly? No. Don't you want to be excited about the person that you're going to date or want to get to know? And good on him for saying these things, because even when taking it slow, like I mentioned at the beginning of this, there's people out there that use taking it slow as a get out of jail free card, a reason to have bad behavior. And I mean, there's people out there that say, hey, listen, I want to take it slow. And they might, call you once a week and then disappear. They might go out with you on a date and then disappear and then come back, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, even a month later and be like, hey, what's up? How's it going? Blah, blah, blah. And then you're like, what are you talking about? Where have you been? What's going on? And they're like, oh, but I thought we were just taking things slow. And I mean, what were you doing in the past couple of weeks while we weren't talking? Oh, can figure it out. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out, right? And again, this sort of behavior happens. So, like this guy in the story, he said to her, hey, I don't mind talking to you and getting to know you, but I want to go out. I want to see what kind of chemistry we have in person. And if you don't want to do this, if you don't want to go out, or you're not sure, or you're just playing games, then let's just end it here. And that's the right attitude to have, even when taking it slow, because you don't want to rush into this. You don't even want to rush into going out on a date. And that's okay. You don't want to date more than, one date a week because friends, life, maybe you have kids and you have to, take care of them. Maybe your schedule because of work and kids and family and friends doesn't allow you a lot of free time. And that's part of taking it slow, where it's I don't want my dating life to encumber the rest of my life. As in, the rest of my life comes first, my dating life comes second. So when I have free time, the limited free time that I have, that is when it is okay for me to go out. And if you don't like it, guess what? You don't have to be here and we can find somebody else. Because that's the one thing that I say to everybody is that there's always going to be a somebody else. There's always going to be another person around the corner. So if somebody isn't for you, it's okay. It's okay if somebody's not for you. You will put yourself out there, keep up with it, and you will find that person, provided you keep trying to find that person. But again, the bad actors that are using, let's take this slow, so that they can date multiple people, or they can put you on a shelf essentially and pull you down when they're bored. That's for you to stay away from. I'm assuming you want to stay away from that, assuming you're not doing the same thing as them. But like this guy in the story, what did he do? He put it out there. I'm here for a reason. This is the reason. Now, if you want to take things slow, we can take things slow. Let's get some concrete information here. What does taking things slow mean to you? Do you not want to talk every day? Do you want to talk every second day? And I know a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, but setting up these concrete rules isn't necessarily organic. Isn't necessarily like letting nature take its course. No, it's not. But it's doing things at a level of comfort for optimal outcome for you, obviously. So have the conversation. You want to take things slow? No problem. What does that mean to you? Is it that you want to talk every day? You just want to talk once a day? Do you mind, like for instance, in my situations, right, where I'm the type of guy that likes to say good morning and you know, show that I'm interested, showing that I'm putting effort in, showing that I'm showing up. Some people may not like that, but it's like, is it okay if I message you good morning? Do you want to talk every day? Do you want to talk every 2 days or every 3 days? How often do you want to go out? Do you only want to go out once a week? Do you want to go out more than once a week? And essentially creating a sort of plan of what's going to happen here between you and I. Because otherwise, number one, who knows what anybody means about taking things slow. One person might mean that I don't want to talk to you every day and I only have time, like a specific small amount of time to do this, and that's when I want to do it. Other people might think that it's, you know, I don't want to have sex too quickly. And if those two people meet, as in me and the last girl that I was talking to recently, well, I thought one thing, she thought another thing. Even though I tried to clarify it, I didn't get a straight answer. And you know what? That's on me. Maybe I should have pressed a little bit harder to understand. But obviously, me saying good morning to her was too much for her. Okay, no problem. See you later. But nonetheless, because if, like, just for me, if she didn't want to talk every day, and like, that's, you know, I'm out here dating, looking for what I want, you know, I'm going to put effort in. And if somebody's not on that level, then I would have just backed out anyways myself. So all is well that ends well. But that's me. And that's having that conversation with someone. If someone wants to take things too slow, for me, that's not good. I'm not interested in that. And again, that's okay. Because if you are the person that wants to take things slow and you verbalize it and you say, hey, like, let's have this conversation. This is what I want. Or this is what will make me happy. This is what works best for me. So if you want to get to know me, this is what works best for me. And if they say, okay, and they're going to show up for you and respect your boundaries, beautiful. Versus the opposite happening, where you say, I want to take things slow, and that they try and they don't respect your boundaries. And then it's like, okay, well, this isn't going to work for me. See you later. And they might say to you, hey, do you want to get to know me? And if that's what they were to do to you, and you're the one that wants to take things slow, your answer should just be this. Yes, I do want to get to know you, but I only have a limited amount of time to do so. So it's either we work with my boundaries or we go our separate ways. And the beauty about dating, the beauty about getting to know someone is that you have the option to not get to know them. You have the option to say no. You do not owe anybody anything. And just to throw this in there to those people that may or may not sleep with someone sooner rather than later, which again, no judgment, but they owe you nothing. Just like the guy that takes a girl out to a very fancy, expensive restaurant, they owe you nothing. I know that's not the point of this episode of the podcast, but still, they owe you nothing. So if you decide to sleep with someone, they don't owe you anything. If someone takes you out to a fancy restaurant, they don't owe you anything. It's your decision to do these things. So the outcome is the outcome. And if it's not favorable for you, too bad. Sorry to say. Maybe you should have pumped the brakes a little bit, taken more time getting to know them, understanding that, does this person have what I want, is what I want, will treat me the way I want? That's for you to decide. So, just to recap, taking things slow. Maybe it works for you, maybe it doesn't. Maybe you might need to adopt this for the time being because you've had a bad run of dating or not favorable run of dating. And the next person that you come across, you might get overly excited. And maybe having a day or 2 days or just some time for that matter to sit down and reflect and think, am I getting overly excited because I've had a bad run? Is this person actually what I want and what I'm looking for? Do I like them? And do things at your own pace. But be thoughtful about it. Don't let the excitement cloud your judgment. Don't let the excitement get in the way of actual progress. And I think that's pretty much it. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching and listening. I honestly really, really appreciate you. If you have any questions for me, feel free to go to my website. That's JoeyFrancess.com, JoeyFrancess.com. And there you can send me an email or a message and we can have a conversation. Maybe you need some help. Maybe you have an idea to help me with this podcast and creating a new episode, which I would greatly, greatly appreciate. Aside from that, you can also inquire about my books there and other ways to watch and listen to this podcast for that matter. So that's it. That's all for this week. Again, I honestly really, really appreciate you. And the message I'm going to send you out this week with: take things slow. Take a breath. Stop and smell the roses. Even when you get overly excited about finding someone, it's okay. Allow yourself that excitement because it is fun and it is exciting, especially when we find someone that we like. But take the time to reflect and make sure that it is what you want it to be. Until next time.